This is our Christmas social that we do. So there's going to be, usually there's no business. I have just two little pieces of business that we have to pass here tonight. And but before we do that, I'd like to make introductions here. My name is Brent. My call sign is VE3OTL. And to my left,
Dave, VE3DPT.
Al.
No.
V3RET.
I'm Brian, KC8LXS.
Johnny, VA3MOF.
Jerry, V3JTB.
Mike, VE3MHL.
So, VE3GME.
Paulie, VA3PSV.
Doug, V3DX and an L.
Dorsey, VE3DTY.
Richard, VE3RLN.
Bruce, VA3ZB.
Mark, V3FOG.
All right, in the back row, Travis.
Tavish,
Travis, sorry.
VA3TJY.
Peter Corbett, VA3MOE, and VA3 Delta India.
Ernie, V3MOC.
Vanessa, VE3VAO.
Steve, VE3HIK.
E3IJ.
Rolly.
I'm just a guest.
No, it's okay. Introduce.
You got a call.
Alpha 3, Echo Whiskey Kilo.
VE3WNZ.
Trevor, still testing. Ron, VA3 RJB.
All right, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming out to the meeting tonight. And I apologize for the business that we need to pass here, but we need to pass it because some of this money came out of my pocket tonight, okay? So, first of all, last month we reported on doing the club insurance that we get through Radio Amateurs of Canada. And what was it, $122 or something like that we sent in?
It was second. 228.58.
It's a little short on that amount. They replied back. They said, "Thanks for your down payment, but you owe us $188.56." So that works out to it's about 400 and change for the liability insurance that the club needs for not only for having meetings and meeting in rooms like this, but also for the repeaters that we have on various towers in the area there. That we it's mandatory that we carry liability insurance. So we need your approval to pay the balance of the insurance of $188.56. I have the check already ready to go. If I can have someone move that we pay that by Bill V3WMZ, seconded by Richard V3
RLN.
Got it. Any comment or discussion?
Question.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. The other one is it's going to be a pretty poor Christmas here for my grandkids if you don't pass this one here. It's for $42.61. It's for the coffee here for tonight. So can I have a mover for that? Vanessa? VE3VAO? A seconder? Ron, VA3RJB? Any comment or discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, I'd like to turn the balance of the meeting, which is going to be real quick, over to Bruce, VA3ZB, who will introduce our new amateurs that have passed.
Hello,
the amateur
Johnson
yearbook.
Insurance. You've been robbed. They took everything. Sorry to hear that, Mike.
It's with a pen.
Oh, I know exactly how you feel. What should I do? Don't worry. Gonna help you sort everything out.
We've been looking out for Canadians ever since we opened our doors in Newfoundland and Labrador over 130 years ago. Johnson Insurance. If it happens to you, it happens to us.
The
Hey,
new
Joe.
amateurs.
Flood?
You did a lot of hard work, and now's the time to
Canadians
party.
ever since we opened our doors in Newfoundland and Labrador over 130 years ago. Johnson Insurance. If it happens.
Before we start on the certificates, we're going to put on a how-to ham course. We're a little late this year because we had to delay the start of our course, or our basic course. So I'd like to hear from the amateurs, the new amateurs, if they'd like to do the course before or after Christmas. Would you like to start before, or would you like to start after Christmas? Steve, any ideas?
After.
You like to start after?
I agree with after.
After? Okay, after, okay. And after? Okay, so everybody's okay with after Christmas? And I want to hear from you, the new amateurs, in terms of what you want covered in the course. We have a sort of a standard outline, but I want to make sure that we cover the sort of topics you want. So just speak up, tell me what you want. We'll start with Steve again.
I did it, I attended last spring, the How'd Camp. That was the first thing that I came to visit for.
Okay.
I really came to the club with the only intent is to learn. I'm just trying to absorb it all. So
Okay.
whatever you can show me
Is good enough. Okay. John?
I agree with Steve. Anything that the amateurs around the city can share.
Okay.
pretty much what's your passion. Bring us in on it.
Okay.
I'm starting from the bottom, so anything, especially frequency allocations, how to get around the bands, and who's where and who's what.
Okay.
So I could do my thing with these old radios.
Okay. And we got Jeff and Trevor. Is Jeff here? No, Jeff's not here. Oh.
That's where Trevor is either.
So any Tavish ideas?
I'm fairly confident that your standard procedure is adequate.
Okay.
I'd have to have a look at it to see if there's anything that I think should be added, but
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll send all of you an outline of the course, and I'll line up teachers, and we'll do it in the new year. Just to let you know, it's one night a week for a month, so it's usually four classes. Okay, and it gives you, you had to learn all this theoretical stuff. This is more. It's not really hands-on, but it's more of the practical stuff with radio. Okay, and it's more of an informal course. There's no test after, thank God. Okay. And after that, we're going to put on an advanced course. So everybody is welcome to take that. So in the fall session, there will be an advanced course. Now, the thing I want to tell you about is when you join, you're now a member, a ham radio operator. You're a member of the Algoma Amateur Radio Club. And this is a community. And we help each other in this community. So if there's something you need, then please get in touch with us. For instance, if you're going to go and get yourself a Bofang radio and you want help in programming it, let us know, and we're going to help you with that. If you're going to buy a radio, then come out to one of the meetings and ask people about the radio. Somebody has had experience with it, will know about it, we'll give you tips on it, what to buy, what not to buy, the advantages and disadvantages. So if you're putting up an antenna, then please, if you need some help, ask fellow amateurs. This is what we do. Ernie.
Who do you have that climbs towers?
Do I have anyone who climbs towers?
Frank McMillan.
We have. You cannot pay what he is going to ask.
I had to ask.
I used to climb towers, but I might get a little chicken this at 30 feet, so I have to.
How tall?
No, I'm just asking, right? Not steering.
I'm comfortable up to 60 feet.
Yeah, that's about where my limit was.
There you go.
I climbed the fire watchtower out at Little Rapids. That was a good view. I'm pretty sure I counted the rungs, and it was about 100 rungs straight up.
Oh my Lord.
It's a little different though, like you climb the tower and then you strap and you hang out from the tower while you're working on antennas. It's a little different than just climbing up it.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're above 24 feet. I was on 24-foot tower at field day in 1988 in Thunder Bay when it went down with me on it with my safety belt on.
Ooh.
I remember that.
Not very nice.
They gotta be, your tower's gotta be built according to good engineering practice. That's right in the Industry Canada requirements.
Now, one of the ways that you can get information about amateur radio is to come out to the meetings. Now, all the graduates, you've got a list of all of our meetings. There's the Sunday meeting at McDonald's North. There's the electronic clubs meetings on Thursdays. There's our monthly meetings. Please come out to the meetings. There's Sonic North. Amateurs sometimes congregate there, although Alan is going to be giving that up pretty soon. Anyway, he's graduating as well. Anyway, so come out to the meetings, ask amateurs, other amateurs, about the problems you're having, the things you need to know about amateur radio. Discuss it with people, and you'll get the information and the help that you need. Okay, the other thing about community is we're part of a bigger community, and we try to give back to the local community, especially in times of emergencies. One of the things we are to do is we will be assigned to go out to Mike's Mart locations, Mike's Milk, Max Milk, there you go, and operate our, I knew I was saying something wrong, operate our 2-meter radios. We become a 911 service for the city. So there'll be more information on that, but this is how we give back, one of the ways we give back to the community. The next thing is getting on the air. Most radio amateurs are really frightened to get on the air, nervousness. But I've got to tell you, amateur radio there's a big thrill factor when you first get on the air. There's nerves at first, you don't want to do it, but there's a big thrill factor when you do it, when you have enough courage and do it. I know I had learned Morse code, and I didn't want to go on the air with Morse code because I was afraid my code would be too bad, and I waited months before I actually used Morse code. So this is usually typical for most people. It happens. But remember the thrill factor. And, you know, Brent will tell you about, for instance, talking to American military aircraft who was running as an amateur radio. Other people will tell you about talking to the space station. Okay, I've talked to ships at sea in all remote locations. I worked DX all around the country, and like when the first time you get a distant station, as Bill says, you know, I put up that piece of wire, right, and I connected my radio, and I talked to that guy in Afghanistan, and there was no other intermediate service, right? There was no cell phone tower, there was no server, there was nobody else. Just me, my radio, and him on the other side of the world. That's the thrill of amateur radio, right? You don't need the infrastructure, just you and your radio is good enough, okay? And believe me, there's a big thrill factor to it when you finally do get on the air. What I recommend, if you're a little bit nervous, what I recommend is listening first. This is Rowley's point. Rowley says to new amateurs, listen before you get on the air, and you'll be much more at ease when you finally do get on the air. One of the ways you can listen, we talked about it in the course, SDR radio. You could buy this thing for $20. You plug it into your computer, you get all the radio bands. You could listen to how amateurs, you know, conduct themselves on the air. Okay, so that's one easy way of starting. Remember, we have some rules in amateur radio. We don't, on the air, we don't talk politics, religion, we don't talk about anything that will divide us or cause arguments, okay? Because, you know, you don't want to be talking to a Russian guy and telling him your opinion about Vladimir Putin, right? Because that's going to create a lot of problems, okay? Remember, as a radio amateur, you are a representative of your radio club, you're a representative of your city and your country. So you want to put the best foot forward for all of us. Okay, but you want to be as polite as possible, but there are times when you will find that there are people on the air who are not polite, and there are problems. The best thing you could do is to avoid them. Just go away. Just say thank you very much and move on. That's the best thing to do. If something is bothering you that much, then in the words of our famous president, don't forget the power of the off switch. You can always turn it off, right? You don't have to sit there and get angry. Dave Campbell said, amateur radio is supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun, there is something wrong, and you should look at correcting it as soon as possible. Okay.
Field day?
Want to talk about field day?
Just that it's a great way to sort of get onto amateur radio on the higher frequency bands. It's a 24-hour session, usually the last weekend in June, and the club last year set up at the or last June set up at the emergency center, and it is a great way of being able to sort of get accustomed or get used to talking on the radio. And the people that normally do the field day stuff, they're quite happy to be able to accept if you feel hesitant or something like that. They'll help you out with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good way of sort of getting introduced to amateur radio. And there are other competitions around too. It's not just field day.
This year we did the worldwide CQ contest, and we're probably going to be doing more of those. So a lot of the students came out and participated in that, and that was very good. That's the way to get your feet wet. Get into the contest and help out in those sorts of situations. Okay. Well, I promised that it wouldn't take too long, and I think that was too long. Thank God, I see them. Jeez, too much. But that's just a brief review of amateur radio. Okay, we're going to be calling people up here to get their certificates. What? Nobody brought a camera?
One right there.
I'm sure somebody has a phone.
Still camera. Okay, Trevor Bryant is the first. I got to tell you something about Trevor. He took the test, and then he retested. And so when we did it, he got a good mark, but he said, "You know what? I'm very disappointed. Could I take that test again? I want a 90%." And I said, "Listen, what you got is good enough." Congratulations. Okay. I'm going to put that one aside for a minute. Jeff isn't here tonight. Jeff Cole? No. Okay.
No, that's who just texted me. He can't make it tonight.
He can't make it tonight. Yeah,
he wants to know what the dues and stuff is, so I can let him know tonight.
Well, he, as part of the course, he's already an associate member.
Okay.
So, very good. Okay, Tavish Jordan. Now, something about Tavish, you may not know, he's an aviation student at Sioux College, so I'm very proud of this young man, because to take the course at Sioux College and then to take this course too at the same time, as far as I'm concerned, that's miraculous. Congratulations. Now, the next gentleman is Jerry Tombati. And Jerry worked for many years at the steel plant, and he also fixes radios. He fixes old radios, and he can fix just about any old radio there is. He even tells me he can tune up the old transformers on them if they're out of tune. He replaces all the capacitors. So this is a dying art, but now he's into ham radio, and he may get some vintage equipment to get on the air. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, we had a lot of, this was unusual this time around, we had a lot of computer people and electronics people who already knew a lot. And so in some cases they were even teaching us. But we have Steve Velt, who is the IT guy for the Board of Education.
The only one.
The only one.
IT guy.
You're in.
And he's one of our top students. Congratulations. Now, I would like to call on Peter. Peter's going to do me a favor here.
My old war wounds from the Tower Falls.
Peter's going to do me a favor.
Thanks, Bruce. I really appreciate Bruce allowing me to do this. I'll give you a little bit of a history background. Myself, Peter V3MOE, I became a ham back in 1980 at the age of 14 years old. And the reason we chose ham radio was my dad was into CB, and he wanted to have me talk on CB, and back then it was licensed and you had to be 16. So to talk on a CB, I was too young, but I could talk around the world at 14, which was no problem. So we pursued our amateur radio licenses, and away we went. So my dad's call was Mike Oscar Delta V3MOD. Back then they issued you the call in sequence. You didn't have a chance to pick. I was lucky. I got V3 Mike Oscar Echo MOE, and my dad always said to me, he said, "Why did they mark my test first? I don't get it." You know? So my dad ended up passing on back in the 80s, and my brother picked up his license, so he's now V3 MOD. My wife also got involved in ham radio back in the early 90s, Victor Echo 3 Delta India India, and then my brother-in-law Ernie Console is V3 MOC. So it's a real honor to present this to my nephew Johnny, who's the next generation VA3 MOF, and I can honestly say that I'm probably one of the proudest guys around, and I know my father would be, and my wife is proud, and my brother's proud to have another member in the family that's in amateur radio. So,
Great.
Johnny, come on up, buddy. Congratulations. He's actually going to get his uncle to hook up a radio. You talking about vintage radios? You talking about vintage radios? Come to my house. All my stuff that was new at one point is all vintage. So it's not worth it. I might as well save it and sell it as vintage stuff someday.
And keep in mind that I think Johnny is the first high school student that we've had, grade 12 high school student, is attending classes and came every night. I don't think he missed a night. And got his amateur certificate with high marks as well. So now is time to party. Thank you very much.